Habit number 1, skipping breakfast. For most of my life, I thought skipping breakfast was harmless. I told myself I wasn't hungry or that I was saving time. But slowly, I began to feel fatigue creeping in earlier each day, my focus slipping, muscles weakening. It was subtle at first, like fog at dawn. After a while, I couldn't ignore it. I'd stand in the kitchen, staring into space, wondering why I felt drained before noon. My doctor showed me something I'd never seen before: scans of my cortisol levels. They were elevated, far more than they should have been. He explained that when older adults skip breakfast, cortisol spikes and lingers. That stress hormone doesn't fade the way it used to. It clings to your system, breaking down muscle and creating low-grade inflammation that drains your energy and ages your organs. According to a 2021 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, individuals over 60 who skipped breakfast had 23% higher cortisol levels. It wasn't just a habit, it was a slow, daily stressor. My so-called discipline was sabotaging me. So I changed. I didn't start with a feast, just oatmeal, nuts, a little fruit. Within weeks, I felt stronger, more alert. Like my body was finally being heard. My hands stopped trembling mid-morning. I had more energy to call my grandson, to water the plants, to live. If you've ever skipped breakfast thinking it didn't matter, maybe now's the time to reconsider. Your body deserves fuel, and you deserve to feel strong. If this resonates with you, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. You're one of the few who's listening, and that makes all the difference. Habit number 2, reaching for the phone first thing. One morning I picked up my phone before I picked up my glasses. I scrolled through headlines, emails, and weather updates before I even stood up. My coffee went cold, my back slouched, and I already felt behind. It seemed harmless. But screen exposure right after waking can spike dopamine, confuse your natural rhythm, and fuel anxiety. I felt alert but not centered. More connected, but more distracted too. A 2022 neuroscience study found older adults who used screens in the first 30 minutes of waking had 17% more fatigue and disrupted sleep patterns. And I felt every bit of it. Now my phone stays face down. I stretch first, breathe, sip water, let my thoughts arrive before the world's noise does. Mornings should be sacred, not hijacked. If this sounds like you, take back your morning. You deserve peace, not panic. Share your morning routine in the comments. Someone might need your tip. Like this video if you're learning something new. Subscribe to stay with us. Habit 3. Ignoring morning stiffness. I used to grunt when I got out of bed, just part of getting older, I'd say. But that grunt turned into a limp, and the limp became persistent. What I brushed off as harmless stiffness was actually my body pleading for movement, whispering that something was changing before I wanted to admit it. After 60, joint fluid decreases and mobility begins to shrink, often by 1% per year if not maintained. I learned that the hard way. Morning stiffness isn't just discomfort, it's a red flag, one that we too often dismiss with a laugh and a shrug. According to the American Geriatric Society, 31% of adults over 70 suffer from mobility limitations due to untreated morning stiffness and weak flexibility routines. I was part of that 31%. I didn't stretch. I didn't move. And eventually, I couldn't. Stretching isn't about becoming a yoga expert. It's about listening. I started simple neck rolls, toe touches, deep breaths with raised arms. Not because I was chasing youth, but because I wanted to keep my freedom to move, to walk, to live. Now I move better not because I'm younger, but because I stopped ignoring the whispers before they turned into screams. That's what morning care really is. It's listening to the smallest complaints before they become the loudest regrets. If this feels familiar, take a moment. Stretch your arms. Flex your toes. And if you're still here, like this video and subscribe. Because small steps matter, and together, we can stay strong a little longer. The first time I stretched without pain, I smiled. It was small, but it meant everything. If you've ever ignored that morning stiffness, maybe it's time to start listening. Hit like if this resonates and tell me below, what's the first move you'll make tomorrow? Habit 4. Taking long hot showers. There's something deeply comforting about a hot shower in the morning. The steam, the warmth, the moment of solitude. I used to stand there for 20 minutes, letting the water hit my back, thinking I was doing myself a favor. But I started noticing small things: dry patches on my arms, redness that didn't fade, skin that bruised easily with the lightest bump. I thought it was age. I thought it was normal. Then my dermatologist asked me a question I hadn't considered. How hot is your water? Turns out, hot water strips the skin of its natural oils, those oils that act as a protective barrier. As we age, our skin produces less sebum, making it more prone to dryness and thinning. According to research from the British Journal of Dermatology, adults over 65 who take frequent hot showers are 29% more likely to experience chronic skin irritation and delayed healing from minor injuries. But the impact isn't just skin deep. That daily exposure to intense heat can also dilate blood vessels and trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. For me, it was subtle tiredness that lingered, a dull headache after every shower, a strange sense of being drained instead of refreshed. I was unknowingly beginning each day by depleting my body's reserves. Something that felt like self-care wasn't. So I changed things: lukewarm showers, gentle cleansers, moisturizer within 2 minutes of drying off. My skin felt better. But more than that, I felt cared for by myself. Small rituals, I realized, shape how we age. And sometimes, comfort hides consequences. If this resonates, leave a comment and let us know. What small habit did you think was harmless until it wasn't? Your insight might help someone else feel less alone. Habit 5. Making the bed too quickly. It sounds harmless, maybe even wholesome. Making the bed first thing in the morning. I did it every day for decades. Tucking in the sheets gave me a sense of order, of control. It was how I told the day, I'm ready. But what if that habit was working against me? One day, I read an article shared by my granddaughter. It said that making your bed immediately after waking traps in warmth and moisture, creating the perfect breeding ground for dust mites and mold. I raised an eyebrow. Mold? From a neat bed? Turns out, King's College London found that waiting 30 to 60 minutes before making your bed could reduce dust mite concentration by up to 23%. These mites thrive in warm, damp environments like freshly slept-in sheets. And for older adults like me with asthma or fragile lungs, that's a big deal. I started to change. I pulled the covers halfway down. I opened a window. I let the air circulate before straightening the blankets. Small shift, big impact. My sinuses felt clearer. I breathed easier. And it reminded me that care sometimes looks like patience, not perfection. If you're the kind of person who rushes into the day, doing what you've always done, maybe pause tomorrow. Let the bed breathe. Let yourself breathe. Give your morning a moment to open, gently. Some routines aren't wrong, they're just waiting to evolve. Did this surprise you? What other habits might be aging us quietly? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this helpful. Together we age wiser. Habit 6. Drinking orange juice on an empty stomach. Every morning, for as long as I can remember, I poured myself a glass of orange juice. It felt like tradition, sweet, bright, full of vitamin C, but as the years went on, I started feeling strange after breakfast, shaky, drained, and oddly hungry again within an hour. It didn't make sense. I hadn't skipped my meal. But then my doctor asked one simple question: "Do you drink fruit juice before eating anything else?" When I said yes, he nodded like he'd heard it 100 times. "Let's talk about blood sugar," he said. "Even natural juices like orange or apple contain high amounts of fructose. When consumed on an empty stomach, they cause your blood sugar to spike and then crash. That roller coaster can leave you feeling tired, irritable, and foggy." I thought juice was helping me start strong. It was doing the opposite. Older adults often have reduced insulin sensitivity. Our bodies can't handle those rapid sugar spikes the way they used to. A Harvard Health article showed that seniors who drank fruit juice solo had 19% higher fasting glucose levels than those who paired it with protein or fiber. Now I still enjoy orange juice, but in moderation. I pair it with a small handful of nuts or a slice of whole grain toast. Or sometimes I skip it altogether and go for water with lemon. What matters is that I stopped letting sugar dictate how my mornings feel. Your traditions can still bring comfort, but it's okay to question them, to tweak them, to turn something sweet into something sustainable. A better morning doesn't require giving up joy, just understanding it a little better. If you've made this mistake too, don't worry, you're not alone. Drop a T in the comments if you've ever had juice for breakfast, and subscribe for more gentle shifts that make a big difference. Closing reflection: the gift of slowing down. I used to race through mornings, up with the alarm, coffee, news, rush, repeat. The idea of a slow start felt like weakness. I had things to do, places to be. Even in retirement, I clung to that rhythm, afraid of what might fill the silence if I slowed down. But the truth is, age doesn't just change your body, it reveals what you've been ignoring. One morning not long ago, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize my own exhaustion. Not the kind sleep could fix, but a weariness from living against my own rhythm. That's when I realized these small choices we make each morning, what we eat, how we move, what we allow into our minds, they echo through our entire day, and eventually through our entire lives. I'm not here to scold or shame. I'm here to share what I wish I had known earlier. Aging isn't something to fight. It's something to understand, to honor, to adapt to with grace. You might not feel the effects of these habits today, but they're still shaping you. And by the time the consequences are loud enough to notice, it's often harder to undo them. So I made a promise to myself to begin each day with awareness, with intention, with a moment of stillness before the world pulls me in 100 directions. It's not about being perfect. I still have mornings where I check my phone too early or reach for something sweet. But now I notice. I pause. I ask myself, is this serving me? And more often than not, I make a better choice. To those watching this, you're not too late. You're not too far gone. These changes aren't about reversing time. They're about reclaiming quality, energy, presence, and peace. If even one of these habits resonated with you, let it be a starting point. Not for a total transformation, but for a small shift in your morning, one that honors where you are now and supports where you want to go. And if you've stayed with me this far, thank you. It means this message found the right person. You deserve mornings that fuel you, not drain you. You deserve energy that lasts longer than a cup of coffee. You deserve to feel awake, truly awake to your life. Before you go, I have a question. Have you ever changed a small morning habit and seen a big difference in your day? Drop your answer in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to start listening to their body too. And if you found value here, consider subscribing. Not for me, but for yourself. For the version of you who wants to keep learning, growing, and living fully, one mindful morning at a time.